All right. So this first example is a game between Fnatic and Roccat from this past week. So let's skip forward a little bit. And we're getting into the game. Where was my first marker? Okay, it was up here, but let's look first of all at the team compositions. So let's do this. Okay, there we go. So let's kind of look at the team compositions here. Fnatic have pretty strong AoE, so in a straight up team fight, if they get the command shockwave down and the summon Tibber is down on several members of Roccat, they're going to win a fight pretty easily. And they have actually pretty good peel for their backline as well. They've got the CC of Orianna. Jinx can peel for herself relatively well. Lee Sin can peel pretty well. So that's kind of how Fnatic's team composition is going to work, whereas Roccat doesn't have as much of a traditional team fighting composition. Instead, they're going to be really good at isolating targets on Fnatic and killing them one by one. So let's go to one of the first major team fights in this game. Oh, there we go. So I'm just going to play this once and kind of let it play out and just give you an idea of the situation that's happening. And then after that, I'll talk about what happened, go over it again with some more deep analysis. So Fnatic has Baron. They're pushing down the mid lane. We haven't really actually seen a super significant team fight. Fnatic has just done some good positional play and vision control and have secured Baron based on that. So they're pushing up the mid lane. Keep in mind, Roccat has all this burst damage, all this ability to isolate out one target and kill them. And Fnatic doesn't particularly need to fight here because they have this Baron. They can just siege this mid lane, get damage on it, and eventually take it down. So,
yeah. If a hook lands now, this is most likely where they're going to need to try to go follow it through and actually grab a kill. Not on Cyanide though, they want to get most likely Jinx or Peke down as quickly as possible.
Well, Soaz just continues to walk in there. He's not really taking any damage at this stage from those turrets, especially with Command Protect on his head as well. We see that Roccat just starting to back off. Soaz tanks it up again, and he's probably asking Reckless, are you going to get in there? Whoa, Flash Tibber's coming in up towards Jankos. Whoa! Lantern taken from Jankos to get away from the Super Mega Death Rocket, and Soaz is going to fall, and that is the beastly tank. Roccat might like to go after this one now. Skyfall going to come in. Can they catch anyone? Oh, at the moment, Overpower gets shocked, stunned as he comes down, but they still continue to chase. Flash from Zazas gets the slow onto 3 of them. Have they got the damage and chase to follow this one up? There is Bandit getting in there. Well, there's a shockwave from the side. Are they turning this one around? They get one of them. Overpower's going to fall as well, but it now leaves Peke with Jankos coming in as well. The hook missing. Peke's still alive and still doing masses of damage to his opponents. Will he be able to finish off though? There's the Command Protect. Speeds himself up as well, and Peke is on the run at this point. You can't imagine that he'll get away from Zazas. Not now, as the hook comes in, but he's still alive. Almost gets Vander. The shield will keep him up. Wow, Peke, I don't know how he survived that long, but he did. And he's 4 kills. Actually, it was an ace overall because Yellow Star went down first. Yeah, Command Protect blocked so.
Alright, so they're about to do like an instant replay, so I don't need to rewind, but let's talk about that team fight a little bit. I actually think Fnatic, even after Soaz died, still could have won that fight if they played it just a little better. There were a couple mistakes that I really want to talk about specifically, but there was one big mistake, obviously, at the start that kind of got the ball rolling for Roccat, and the Pantheon was huge in this game. Overpower's Pantheon is a lot of what I want to talk about as far as positioning and target focus in these fights. So You'll see Fnatic's just sieging these towers. Keep in mind, I said they don't need to engage a fight. They are not getting a whole lot of damage on this tower, so they might be feeling a little antsy right now. But Yellow Star is going to do this flash tibbers on Jankos. Keep in mind, XPK is way over here, so he cannot follow up with a command shockwave. Alright, so we've got the flash tibbers. Now Vander's right here. He's going to throw the lantern. Jankos gets out alive. That's 2 ultimates burned from Fnatic for nothing, basically. So now Soaz, thinking that he wants to follow up and they want to start a team fight under the tower, is deep under this tower. And, you know, he's Mundo, so in theory he should be able to get away, right? Really good hook from Vander, and this is where Rockat's kind of bursty pick-off team composition becomes really powerful, because they actually burst down Soaz. So now Soaz is dead. Fnatic is fleeing. Overpow is going to cut them off with the Grand Skyfall, and Fnatic is just running away. I still honestly think that Fnatic can win this fight. So XPK wisely kind of backs off to the side here. And that's kind of where it starts to go wrong for them. They could still win this fight, but XPK is going to be on the side. This fight is going to be very disorganized for Fnatic. So some good chasing from Roccat eventually allows them to catch up. Good peel from Cyanide. Vander catches up. Okay, Shockwave. It only hit Celiver and Xaxus. If it hit Overpow and even Vander, this fight could have been so very different. But what this causes to happen is Celiver and Overpower kind of split away from each other, and Fnatic's going to have a split focus between the two of them. So they do eventually kill both Celiver and Overpower. But they both take longer to go down because there's this split focus. So they're going to get some extra damage down before they die. So Cyanide was over there killing Overpow while XPK and Yellow Star were hitting Celiver. So they both go down, but at this point it's 2-3 as far as living members on the map in favor of Roccat. So XPK makes some big plays here. And like if you look, Vander is super low. XPK is going to get Janko super low. So clearly, you know, the only big threat that they would have had to deal with if there had been a better Shockwave and better target focus in that fight is Xaxus. And you know, if all 3 of them live, or all 4 of them live, or maybe only 1 of them dies and 3 of them are left alive, they can deal with Xaxus. Xaxus can't chase everybody. So that's kind of really important. So first of all, the Grand Skyfall was a big factor in that fight, and second of all, slightly funky Shockwave, and of course they used a lot of CC on a failed pick under the tower. So really important to talk about that. So that Grand Skyfall especially is going to be important later on in the game. So let's go forward a few minutes to the next fight. So what happens here is they're in the mid lane. Fnatic has vision control, and they're just trying to control this mid lane. They have a pretty good defensive fan here, and Soaz is split pushing the top lane. So Roccat needs to force something here, and they will eventually force something, but it's a little less than optimal for them, and we're going to see it kind of play out in Fnatic's favor.
Before Command Protect is down, it's going to work well. Vander, Death Centers, they've got Reckless!
They've got Reckless, is down to half HP. Ace in the whole block there, and the Shockwave will only pull in Jankos, but he's finished off here. Peke picks up that one. There is Soaz doing the damage on towards Celiver as well. He was going to cleanse away, but they can follow in on this one. Celiver surely going to die. His shield keeping him alive for quite a while here, but they stood on top of the lantern. Stops him getting out to Vander, and that is now 3 kills for nothing. Fnatic in a great position.
Alright, so Vander and Overpow both get away. Well, actually, I think Vander eventually does. Fnatic actually kind of stupidly chases here, which means that they don't get an inhibitor. But, okay, let's go back to the beginning of this fight. So Fnatic has this defensive fan. Roccat know they need to force something, so we're going to see the Grand Skyfall down on top of Reckless. And Reckless is... do I have the right layers? Yeah, okay. So Reckless is going to fall pretty low, but the rest of Roccat is actually too far behind Overpow to help. So this initiation just a little bit hasty. Roccat just not quite in the right position. Maybe if they had gone for XPK here, they could have gotten a better initiation, but they wanted to definitely deal with Reckless, keep him from getting the getting excited, his passive, and just running around the team fight doing whatever he wants. So Overpow wants to force something. Grand Skyfall over here on top of Reckless. He's going to get bursted pretty low, but actually you're seeing the rest of Rockat's trying to rush in, but they're just slightly too far away. So we're actually, the hook misses there because of that. Another thing that's important, Xaxus uses his ultimate on Reckless. So they're still trying just really hard to go after Reckless and kill him. So it's actually important that Xaxus uses his ultimate on Reckless here rather than anybody else, because particularly if he used it on Soaz, who just teleported in, he would get a lot more tankiness because of the way that works. He gets a percentage of his opponent's armor and magic resist. So he's a lot less tanky because he ults Reckless, and now he's like trying to basically 3v1 Fnatic's backline while the rest of Roccat doesn't have a whole lot left. Overpow is pretty low, and Jankos is going to end up actually going down here. The shockwave basically only hits him, but Jankos gets bursted down. So Fnatic, because they have this defensive fan, and Soaz is actually flanking from the outside, Fnatic are in a really good position here. Reckless is actually going to be able to duel Xaxus, who decides to turn around and go in on him. He does obviously have the help from XPK and Yellowstar, but meanwhile Celiver doesn't have his team with him. Celiver was taken out of the fight basically by Cyanide's kick, and they stand on top of the Lantern here, so he's not able to grab it. But Celivar didn't play this fight that badly. It's just Roccat was so scattered. They initiated that fight so hastily, and Soaz came in from the back with a teleport that Roccat really was not able to make anything happen there. So Soaz is going to chase Vander down, but they forced the teleport. They did stop Fnatic from taking the inhibitor. All that was mostly XPK's fault for chasing here. But that's basically all I have to talk about in this team fight. So in this case, Overpow actually used his ultimate to initiate the fight, which isn't particularly bad if they get a good initiation, but the rest of Roccat just wasn't quite in position for it. But again, they needed to force something, so it wasn't particularly the worst thing to do. It's just they probably wanted to do it slightly differently. Maybe focus down XPK instead. And definitely they don't want that Trundle ultimate on Reckless. So for the next fight, it's actually at Baron, and Roccat is going to get Baron, and it's going to play out kind of interestingly because Fnatic want to force a fight.
He's got vision down.
So Roccat going for this Baron. Fnatic are all just leaving base. So you'll notice Vander and Reckless are both respawning at around the same time. That's going to be pretty important later on, especially because of how the fight plays out.
And they ended up losing this Baron for free. They're going to start it out. This is so interesting.
Do I have the right,
at the back there, so they
do I have the right layers? No, I don't. There we go.
Know that Fnatic are around.
Yeah, the rest of Roccat are getting into place. Vander's not there, and Reckless has just respawned. If anybody goes low, Super Mega Death Rocket is potentially available. There is no flash for Yellowstar either, but the coin is there. Can Cyanide steal?
No, he can't. Roccat picked that one up, but can they continue here with the fight? Soaz is in the middle of them. He's going to get subjugated, though, and he sticks to Celiver, who flashes away. Soaz now being very, very low. His ultimate running, though, as he tries to get away, and he squeezes by the pillar. Celiver got too close, gets hit there with the cleaver, but the box slows the rest of the team down. Cyanide follows through, but onto the tanky man Xaxus, and here comes the man drop as well. Ace in the hole goes through. They focus onto Peke. He pops the Zonyas, but he's going to go down straight after. That's one man down now for Fnatic. Jankos makes...
Alright, so that's all that Roccat ended up getting out of that fight, but they get 2 kills for nothing and the Baron. And that's going to be pretty important. So let's go back. Like I said, Reckless and Vander both respawning right about now. Fnatic are going to lose this Baron just because Roccat catches them out of position a little bit. And Soaz is kind of a hero and a villain for Fnatic in this fight. At the beginning, he is an absolute monster in the back line and does a lot of work, but then he makes kind of a vital mistake later on. It's not entirely his mistake, but okay. So the Baron goes over to Roccat. Fnatic are actually in a pretty decent position to force a fight